Once upon a time, in the small village of Akwaba, nestled between the dense forests of the African wilderness, lived a young boy named Mensah. Mensah was known throughout the village for his insatiable thirst for adventure and his disdain for the monotony of school. He spent most of his days dreaming of the exciting tales his grandfather used to tell him about the forest and its magical creatures. Mensah's love for adventure had gotten him into all sorts of trouble in the past. There was the time he had followed a strange ant deeper into the forest, fascinated by its erratic movements. He had walked for hours, the ant leading him further and further away from the village. Finally, he had realized he was lost, surrounded by tall trees that seemed to stretch up to the sky. He had spent the night in the forest, shivering with fear and uncertainty. Then, there was the time he had hidden himself in a piece of large meat, hoping to get a glimpse of the eagles that nested in the nearby cliffs. He had been carried away by a majestic eagle, soaring high above the forest canopy. Mensah had held his breath as the eagle flew higher and higher, the wind rushing past his face. Finally, the eagle had landed in its nest and Mensah had scrambled out of the meat, laughing with excitement. Despite these past adventures, Mensah's thirst for excitement had not been quenched. He still dreamed of exploring the forest, of discovering its secrets and marveling at its wonders. One sunny morning, as the villagers were busy with their daily chores, Mensah decided to abscond from school. He had had enough of the dull lessons and the stern lectures from his teacher, Mrs. Amma. With a mischievous grin on his face, Mensah snuck out of the school compound and made his way into the forest. The forest was a place of wonder and magic for Mensah. He had heard stories of the ancient trees that whispered secrets to those who listened, of the sparkling streams that flowed with crystal clear water, and of the mythical creatures that roamed the shadows. With a sense of excitement and trepidation, Mensah ventured deeper into the forest. As he walked, the trees grew taller and the underbrush thicker. Mensah had to push aside branches and fight his way through thorns. The air grew hotter and more humid, and Mensah could feel the sweat dripping down his face. Suddenly, he heard a rustling in the bushes. Mensah froze, his heart pounding in his chest. Out of the corner of his eyes, he saw a massive python emerge from the underbrush. The snake's body was as thick as a tree trunk, and its eyes seemed to bore into Mensah's very soul. Before Mensah could react, the python struck. Its jaw opened wide, and Mensah felt himself being swallowed whole. He tried to scream, but his voice was muffled by the snake's throat. As the python's muscles contracted, Mensah felt himself being pulled deeper into the snake's belly. He was trapped in a dark, slimy cave with no escape in sight. Mensah's eyes slowly adjusted to the darkness. He found himself in a narrow, winding tunnel with walls that seemed to pulse and writhe like living flesh. The air was thick with the stench of rotting food and decay. As Mensah looked around, he realized that he was not alone. The python's belly was filled with all manner of creatures, birds, monkeys, even small antelopes. They all seemed to be in a state of suspended animation, as if they were waiting for something to happen. Mensah wondered if he would suffer the same fate. Would he be trapped in the python's belly forever, a prisoner of the snake's digestive system? As he pondered his fate, Mensah started to get bored. He looked around and saw the different organs inside the python's belly. He saw the stomach, the small intestine, the liver, and the kidneys. Mensah's curiosity got the better of him, and he started to touch and play with each organ. The python's stomach was soft and squishy, like a big balloon. Mensah poked it with his finger, and it made a funny squelching sound. The small intestine was long and winding, like a big slide. Mensah climbed onto it and slid down, laughing and shouting. The liver was hard and rough, like a big rock. Mensah picked it up and threw it from one hand to the other, like a ball. The kidneys were small and round, like two little marbles. Mensah picked them up and juggled them, laughing and joking. As Mensah played with the organs, the creatures around him started to stir. A bird with bright plumage spoke up first. "I was flying through the forest, searching for food," the bird said. "I saw the python lying in wait, its body coiled and ready to strike. I tried to fly away, but it was too late. The python struck and I was swallowed whole." A monkey with a mischievous grin spoke up next. "I was swinging through the trees, looking for fruits to eat," the monkey said. "I saw the python lying on the ground, its eyes fixed on me. I tried to run away, but the python was too fast. It caught me and swallowed me whole." A small antelope with large brown eyes spoke up last. "I was grazing in the forest, eating the lush grass and leaves," the antelope said. "I saw the python lying in wait, its body coiled and ready to strike. I tried to run away, but the python was too fast. It caught me and swallowed me whole." All the creatures looked at Mensah with a serious expression. "You will be dead by the third day," the bird said. "The python's digestive system is too strong. You will be broken down into tiny pieces and absorbed into the python's body." Mensah's eyes widened in fear. He had never thought about the consequences of being swallowed by a python. The python was not amused. It was getting more and more uncomfortable. As Mensah played with its organs, it started to feel angry and irritated. "Stop that," the python hissed. "You are making me very uncomfortable." Mensah just laughed and continued to play. He was having the time of his life. The python had had enough. It was tired of Mensah's antics, and it decided to take action. It started to contract its muscles, trying to squeeze Mensah out of its belly. "Ugh, why did I ever swallow this pesky boy?" the python hissed, its voice echoing through its belly. "He has been nothing but trouble since the moment he arrived. Rough play, poking and prodding my organs. I regret the day I ever laid eyes on him." Mensah felt the pressure building up inside the python's belly. He knew he had to get out, and fast. He started to push and shove, trying to find a way out. The python, meanwhile, was struggling to vomit and spit Mensah out. It convulsed and contracted, its muscles straining with effort. "Get out! Get out of my belly, you pesky boy!" the python cursed, its voice growing hoarse with rage. Finally, with one last push, Mensah emerged from the python's mouth. He fell to the ground, gasping for air. As he looked around, Mensah saw that he was back in the forest, near the spot where he had first encountered the python. The snake itself was nowhere to be seen, but Mensah could feel its presence lurking just out of sight. Mensah took a deep breath and began to make his way back to the village. He was tired, hungry and shaken, but he was also exhilarated by his adventure. As he emerged from the forest, Mensah saw the villagers gathered near the school compound. They were all staring at him in amazement, as if they had never seen him before. "Mensah, where have you been?" Mrs. Amma asked, rushing forward to embrace him. "We have been searching for you everywhere." Mensah smiled, feeling a sense of pride and accomplishment. He knew that he had just experienced something truly remarkable, something that he would never forget.